welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Erica, or the Veggie Yaya, and I'm pretty interested in history in general, but lately I've been more interested in what people ate throughout history. So I want to take a look at what people ate during 1860 and try it out for a week. So in 1860, a lot was happening around the world. Canada was officially founded. Charles Dickens was publishing books and attempting to institutionalize his wife. Queen Victoria was still reigning in Victorian England. The American Civil War was taking place, which led to the beginning of the Wild West. And just like in any period of history, and even today, people lived vastly different lives from one another. So it's hard to nail down a specific 1860 way of eating. What people ate varied by region, socioeconomic status, and even the seasons. I think this quote from Breakfast, Dinner, and Tea, published by D. Appleton and Company in 1860, sums that up quite well. The hour for taking the first meal varies even among people of the same nation, as much as do their circumstances and taste. The industrious hardy farmer who rises before the sun, having performed his wonted tasks, sits down to breakfast at 5 o'clock with a strong appetite. The enterprising citizen, not called forth quite as early by his business, yet still serious of making each day as profitable as possible, breaks his fast at 6 or 7. The professional man, whose hours of labor may have encroached on those devoted to sleep, rises later in the day, and 8 or it may be 9 o'clock will find himself with a weary head and but little appetite, sipping his cup of coffee. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on 1860 America because a lot was happening during that time, which influenced what people ate, and there's a lot of resources on the topic. So let's take a look at what people ate during that time. The wealthy class, like plantation owners and large business owners, were able to afford imported foods and had more access to fresh foods like produce and meat. The middle class, like skilled workers and small business owners, had less variety to their diets but still ate fairly well. They had access to dairy, seasonal produce, and some meats. The lower class, like laborers and poor immigrants, likely ate cheap, repetitive meals like bread, porridge, and potatoes. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the middle class. They ate vegetables and grains that they likely grew themselves, some meats that they likely butchered themselves, and lots of homemade bread. Soups and stews were popular at the time, as well as roasts and vegetables, and for desserts, people loved puddings and cakes. I am vegetarian, but I have a couple products that I'm going to be using to replicate certain meat dishes. I have Beyond Beef, I have these vegan sausages, and I've never tried this before. Veggie ham. I made a kind out of tofu. So, two different shapes. So the resources that I've used for coming up with my meal plan are cookbooks, like real cookbooks and recipes from 1860, and menus from 1860, where I got a lot of my inspiration from. Most of the recipes I'm using this week are actually from Mrs. Crowen's American Ladies Cookery book. I also used a couple of recipes from a domestic cookbook by Malinda Russell, who's actually the first female African-American cookbook author. So let's get right into it. I had to make a couple of things for this week. First is bread. I made 2 loaves of Mrs. Crowen's baker's bread. I've wrapped it in plastic, but it's nice. It's like soft, a bit crispy on the outside. Here's the inside of it. So the bread recipe was actually pretty interesting. To 1 quart of warm water, put a gill of baker's yeast, and a gill is about half a cup, and I used 1/4 of this recipe. Stir in the flour to make a thin batter. Set it in a large pan in a warm place all night. And I would have done this, except I didn't have active dry yeast. I only had instant yeast, so I didn't proof it overnight. I just made it in the morning. Early next morning, put 7 pounds of superfine wheat flour into a wooden bowl, leaving a hollow in the center. Dissolve a bit of volatile salts, the size of a small nutmeg, in a little hot water. When cool, add to the batter, pour into the flour. So volatile salts were a leavening agent like baker's ammonia or baking powder or baking soda. It would have provided like a crispier crust to the bread, but I don't have volatile salts, so I just used baking powder. Powder a piece of alum the size of a very small hickory nut. So alum, which would be potassium alum, is a compound of potassium and aluminum, and it would have made the bread whiter, which was desirable at the time. And it was used a lot in the Victorian period, and bakers would use alum to make their bread really white instead of buying the higher priced white flour. And like so many things during the Victorian period, they had no idea that it was actually harmful to consume, and it could lead to health problems, specifically like digestion issues, but it could also be fatal for children. So I skipped the alum for today. Do the first rise in a warm place for 2 hours, flatten the dough, cover it, rest it near a fire for an hour. I didn't have a fire though, so I just rested it in my oven with the light on. Beat until smooth, make it into loaves, and bake according to size in a quick oven. So a quick oven is a hot oven, so like 375. Next, I pickled some veggies. I made green beans and cauliflower and carrots and onion. Next, I stewed some fruit. I did some pears, apples, and strawberries. These are my favorite. And the last thing I had to do was make sweet butter, because according to Mrs. Crowen, none but the best sweet butter should be brought to the breakfast or tea table. All right, now that we've got things prepared, let's get into the wheat. I know I'm gonna like the stewed fruit because I love strawberries. Mashed potatoes. Yeah, those are good. Now it's time for the muffins. I'm not looking forward to them, to be honest. They just smell like very strong. It is 1860, I don't have a choice. Let's do it. Okay. The aftertaste is a lot. I can see with less yeast, I think it would be pretty good. They were just so yeasty. It's like a pancake but bread, but I'm pretty sure there's something that's not translating with like the measurements of the yeast, because it called for 2 cups of milk, 2 eggs, half a gill of yeast, and a gill, as far as I can see, is about half a cup, which is a lot. So half a gill was a 1/4 cup, and I didn't even use that. I used a tablespoon. And actually, when I was reading Mrs. Crowen's book, there's like a bill of fares, basically like for suggestions or recommendations for meals for like maids or like young women who are starting to like manage a household, I guess. And one of the suggestions in there was actually mashed potatoes and boiled eggs. So, okay, I had the mashed potatoes and the eggs. I can't have the muffins. Sorry, I can't. Fresh bread is so good all the time. The soup is good, a little bit plain. This is dinner. I'm gonna try the pickled veg. I haven't tried it yet. So yeah, I made green beans. Very strong. Onion. Cauliflower. I don't want to talk about the onion. Oh my god, that was a lot. It was like biting into pure vinegar. Okay, there we go. That's really good. Okay, this fruit. Oh my god, yes. Now I have bread, cheese, and meat. This is my tofu meat that I made. I'm imagining myself in an 1860 home. I'm living on a homestead. I just finished dinner. So I'm probably gonna stick to the carrots. Love the bread. The bread is amazing. Okay, so I just made the cake. It's very light, fluffy. It's like, yeah, not super sweet. It's like nice and cakey. So this is called a cream cake. I saw it in a couple menus and in a couple cookbooks, and because I was making less of the recipe because I'm only feeding myself, it would have ended up calling for like 1 tablespoon of sugar to all these other ingredients, and I was like, that's not giving cake. But I found this other one that's more cake-like, so. So this morning we're having Johnny cakes. They are just cornmeal cakes, or they were called Indian meal cakes, made with cornmeal. When I was mixing the cornmeal with the water, I don't know why, but it smelled exactly like a Mexican zoo to me. But anyway, we're gonna try it. I'm having one of the pieces of vegan meat that I bought. Also my tofu. I don't think I said like how I made it. I just sliced it and then marinated it in some veggie stock powder with water, soy sauce, and liquid smoke. So I tried to make it like, I don't know, like a pork or something. It smells less Mexican. Yeah, it's like cakey, like not very dense either. Like it's really nice texture. Lunchtime, we have 2 beef steaks and cabbage and potatoes. Okay, the cabbage and potatoes are kind of plain, but it is just cabbage and potatoes and salt and pepper, so it's pretty good for what it is. And the beef steaks are good. It's the end of day 2. Made it this far. I'm having leftover soup for dinner and I'm starving. I'm loving this bread also, it's so good. Yeah, the soup is actually good the next day. Leftover cake from yesterday and preserved fruit. I feel like whenever I need like a really quick cake, I'm like having anyone over. I don't have anyone over. If I ever need like a really quick cake to make, I'm definitely gonna make this again. It took like 30 minutes or less. One thing I found was interesting actually. Mainly the only spices that are used in these recipes that I'm finding anyway are salt and pepper. But in a lot of the baked goods, they use nutmeg, which is interesting. I didn't think, or I didn't know that that was like one of the main spices available back then in the US. What? Me? It is day 3. We're having breakfast. This morning is hominy. I couldn't find dried hominy anywhere, so I had a can of it. Just simmered it to heat it and then put sweet butter, salt, pepper on. And then this is the meat that I've been using. Tofu with liquid smoke, soy sauce, garlic powder. Okay, I've never had hominy, even though I know it's just corn. It's like kind of weird looking. Oh my god, that is so good. It tastes like a more mild corn flavor, but it's sort of like bouncy. Oh my god, that's amazing. I can't believe I never had that before. Oh my god, it's dripping in hominy liquid. It is lunchtime. Beans with butter, salt and pepper, cabbage. In the book it says this is coleslaw. It's hot though. These 2 things together, the beans and the sausage or pork they would have used, is called succotash. The book gave the option to cook the beans and pork together, but it also said you could do it separately, and I did it separately because I'm not sure how the sausage would have been like boiled. That's good. It's cabbagey. Nice crunch. Oh my god. The beans are really good. I've never cooked them like that before, like boiled. So far, I feel good eating like this. It's definitely like, some of the things are kind of plain because, oh my gosh, I just remembered I was supposed to put cayenne in the beans. But I like most of the food that I've made so far. Anyway, I'm gonna try my pickled veg again today too. I didn't have it at all yesterday because the first day I had it, it was like, I'm scared. It doesn't seem as soaked in vinegar today. It is. The carrots are good. I feel like the cauliflower was probably just a bad choice on my part because it is frozen cauliflower, so yeah, probably just like absorbed all the liquid, so. There's a lot of vinegar in it. Oh, get it down. So I have noticed that there's obviously a lot of cooking involved in making these meals, which makes sense because all they would have done back then was like cook. Like they would have had all the time in the world to cook. And I noticed that like all 4 of my stove elements are full of pots and pans when I'm cooking because there's so many elements that need to be cooked. But it's fun. I really like cooking, obviously, so I enjoy it. Hello. It is now dinner time on day 3. Today is another plate of snacks. Cucumber with salt, strawberry, pickles, meat, cheese, and bread. On the slice I have just butter, and this one have sweet butter. I think I'm gonna try to make like an open face sandwich. Pickle on there. I'm gonna have my dinner, and then I'm making a new dessert today. Never had bread pudding before, and I thought the method was really interesting for making it. I didn't realize it was actually just bread. Also, the original recipe that I followed, I halved. I did it in half, and it ended up calling for half a loaf of bread, 2 cups of milk, 1 egg, and 1 tablespoon of sugar, which I did not think was enough. So it's like hair all over my Anyway, I didn't think a tablespoon would be enough. So I did add 2 more tablespoons of sugar, and let's try it. Literally making the, like, mashing the bread up in the milk made me like want to throw. But let's just. Okay. Wait, it's kind of good. Why is that good? The mixture of like the pudding like inside, and then like crispy bread bits. It's very nice. Almost has like a caramelized texture or taste. I don't know why, but also I'm like worried it's not cooked, but apparently it's supposed to be kind of like wet, as long as there's like no liquid, like, you know. Does that look cooked to you? It cooked for like 45 minutes. Anyway, it tastes really nice. It's like subtly sweet because, again, there was not much sugar. It's cooked right. Again, the nutmeg, the use of nutmeg in everything is really nice. I like it. Good night. I'll see you on day 4. Good morning, day 4, ready for breakfast. Today we have a piece of toast topped with a hash of beef, Beyond Beef, and potato seasoned with salt and pepper. I love Beyond Beef, and I also love potatoes, and I love toast. The hash is really good. I'm also having an iced coffee. I'm having iced coffee because I did see it on a couple of menus from 1860, so I'm allowing myself it. Honestly, I feel like it's a lot of food so far. Like, it's all very hearty, like filling food, but some of it lacks flavor. Okay, it's lunchtime. You can hear my dishwasher. It is on. Lunch today is some vinegar cucumbers. I was very not generous. That's a word. I did not use a lot of vinegar this time because flashbacks to the pickled veg. And it doesn't look like a lot, but I have milk biscuits in the oven right now. And I was gonna do like a half recipe, but then I accidentally did like the full recipe, and it calls for 10 minutes in a hot oven, which I thought was like 375, but they were still like very raw after 10 minutes. So I turned it up to 400 and it's just finishing in there. So I think they should be ready soon. Besides the cucumbers and the milk biscuits that are in the oven, we have potatoes and cabbage just like the other day. This is actually really good. I like this. And then vegan sausage. This is actually something that I can see myself making once I stop like eating like it's 1860. And it's filling, nutritious. I feel like the vinegar brought out the cucumber flavor more. So the biscuits. These biscuits are not your typical biscuit, obviously. They are very thin and hard. Still hot. While I was doing my research, I saw that they biscuits quite a bit, and so here I was thinking that I was gonna make like some really nice biscuits because I like biscuits and they're really good and fluffy and light. And then I find out that they're more like this, like hardtack, if you know what hardtack is. Okay, slightly flaky on the inside. There's like a layer of flake. You can't complain about that. It's like a thick cracker but with like biscuit essence. I just gave my mom one of these. She really likes it. She said the same thing. It's like a cracker but biscuit. But if I were to make them again, I would probably add like some salt and some sugar just to make the flavor a bit more. But it's good, you should try it. It's like only 3 ingredients. Okay, dinner time, day 4, having another soup. Similar to the first soup I made, it's just veggies and broth. Carrots, green beans, onion. It's hot. I know I'm in a random location. It's in my bedroom. My brother's watching hockey downstairs, so I cannot film down there. This is gingerbread. The ingredients were interesting. So 1 cup of molasses to a cup of milk and half a cup of butter. Interesting, because that's a lot of molasses. I should have probably measured it just to make sure, but I was like, I'm not measuring it because I didn't want to use a full cup. I was like, I'll just put in enough so like it looks gingerbready and it smells very gingerbready. But I should have measured it just to see how much I was using. But I'm guessing I probably put in about half a cup. I was gonna break it in half. So I did try it already. When it came out of the oven, I tried it hot because I made it earlier, but I still wanted to film I still wanted to like have dessert tonight. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's like, it's very dense and like not cake-like. Also, the cake didn't call for any sugar, which is interesting considering it's a cake. But I did put in a 1/4 cup just because in Mrs. Crowen's cookbook, she said that in like the baking introductory statement that cakes should be made with sweet butter. So I'm assuming that it was like at least a little bit sweet, but I also recognize that like my modern palate probably requires a bit more sugar and something to consider it dessert. We probably use a lot more sugar now in our baking than they did back then. But it's really good though. This is really good. Good morning. It's the last day. Last day. Just about to have breakfast. I like oatmeal and I'm excited for this. I've never had oatmeal with molasses before. And apparently it was very popular to eat oatmeal with molasses in 1860. Makes sense though, because molasses is like warm and spiced and you eat brown sugar with oatmeal, so. That was good. That was very good. It's good. It's very subtle. Okay, once again, I have my like fake meat. It's good. It is lunchtime. Very simple lunch today. Another plate of succotash, beans, and sausage, and I just cooked them together this time. And then green beans with sweet butter, salt, and pepper. And actually, I've been thinking about it. I think that you can do a lot with just salt and pepper. I thought that everything was very plain the first few days. And then I think yesterday it hit me like, just use more salt and pepper then. Just put more on. So it's actually not bad with, like, you can do a lot with, you can make it taste good and be flavorful. If you're just gonna use salt and pepper, like, use it. Once again, a very hearty meal. Hey, the green beans. Why is this butter not melting? I think this challenge has opened me up to eating more like of a meal at lunch. I actually like it. Do you like that green bean? Okay, dinner. Just let me sauce it on. Okay, dinner, day 5, last day, eating like it's 1860. I have another plate of pickles, meat, cheese, bread, cucumber. One thing I'm gonna be glad to not have to eat again is this meat. But other than that, like, this is something I would eat normally, which I love. So I made 2 loaves of bread on day 1. This is what I have left. Just the end of one. My mom had some too, but I was mostly eating it. I have loved eating like it's 1860. I found more of the research really fun because I like researching historical things and coming up with the meal plan and doing research, finding the recipes. And then I really like testing out the recipes that I've never even heard of before. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat this. So it's been a couple weeks since I ate like it was 1860, and I just wanted to go over what it was like. The food was all very hearty and filling, a lot of grains and protein, and physically satisfying, but it did lack flavor. After the week was up, I actually kept eating like that for a couple days. The beans and the cabbage and potatoes I made a couple times, and I used up the leftover sausage I had and the tofu. Now, a couple of my favorites were definitely the hominy I never tried hominy before and it was really good. I'd like to try to find or maybe order some dried hominy because it might be different cooking it from dried. And I loved the sweet butter. I definitely want to make that again. It was just really good on bread, but also on the beans. The cabbage and potato dish was really good, like just as a side dish. But I have been craving ever since I made it. The beef and potato hash. Oh my god, that was so good. Also the cream cake. That was really good. I actually wanted to make it again because I had more sour cream, but unfortunately I guess it like froze a little bit in the fridge, so it curdled and I couldn't use the sour cream. So, and also the biscuits, I want to make those again just like as a cracker. I feel like they'd be really good on like a charcuterie board or something. So now let's rate this week. So I have 4 categories. We're gonna do taste, satisfaction, ease, and balance. So for taste, we're giving 1860 a 3.5 out of 5. It wasn't necessarily flavorless. Yes, things were plain. Around like day 4, I think I realized like, okay, I can just use more salt and pepper then. And also I'm keeping in mind that they probably cooked with like meats, which give a flavor, and they would have used like lard and probably bacon fat, things that would have just added a base of flavor for whatever you were making. For satisfaction, definitely a 5 out of 5. Everything was hearty and filling and I never felt hungry. There's just a lack of satisfaction in flavor, but physically, great. Ease, I want to give it a 1 out of 5 because nothing was easy. Every single pot and pan that I had was dirty. All 4 of my stove elements were being used when I was cooking, and probably the oven also. There was a lot of cooking, like I spent hours cooking and preparing, like soaking beans overnight, but it wasn't necessarily hard, and none of the methods of cooking were hard. So for ease, again, a 3.5 out of 5. And then for balance, I'm not a nutritionist. I don't really want to talk about like nutrition and calories, but I felt like there was a good balance of like carbs, protein, fats, and a good amount of veggies. So 4 to 5 for balance. It was definitely carb heavy, but for me, I do eat a carb heavy diet anyway. Overall, eating like it was 1860 was very fun and I enjoyed it a lot, and I loved the research, and I'm already planning my next 2 videos and I'm so excited, I can't wait. And if you have any suggestions, let me know. Please subscribe if you enjoyed watching it. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks, bye.